Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Amanda, and welcome to another episode of The Dope Podcast. I am super excited about our guest today. This woman right here, she is an entrepreneur. She's a philanthropist. I can't even get my words right. She loves to help people. She loves to serve. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's an entrepreneur. She's every woman. It's all in her. And I'm excited to have her come on here today because she's just like a sister from another mister. Like, I just love her. So I'm going to bring her in, y'all. Her name is Samantha Tradelius. Let's bring in Samantha. What's up, girl?
Hello. Any day that I get to see your face is a day, girl, that I am excited.
Yes.
Here we are. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, really quick story. So you guys know that I have an organization called She Stories. And we have this little thing we do called Feature Friday. And so Samantha was recommended to us by someone else. And they're like, hey, you guys should interview her. She's an amazing woman. And that's how we met. Like, I meet all of my friends on Instagram. It's crazy.
This is how we're doing it now.
It's like a friend. Easier. It's like a friend app, like a dating app, right?
Totally.
So that's how we met. So I featured her. And then we just kind of stayed connected. And then she invited me to come to her major gala event. She's going to share about her organization and what she does. But since then, we've just been tight.
Just like you said, sisters from another mister. I don't know. We're just two peas in a pod, you and me.
That's right. I love her girls. I love her husband. Yeah. So I'm excited. Thank you for coming on my show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So this is going to be a laid back conversation between girlfriends, but we're really going to talk about what Samantha does, who she is, and the confidence that it took for her to do what she's doing. Basically, the impact that she's made in the community, especially in the lives of single women, especially too showing up in the entrepreneurial space as a woman that is typically a space that is taken up by men. She has been a person that is the forerunner of insurance. So talk to me, Samantha. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Woo! Are we ready to unpack? There's a lot going on.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, I am a mom. That is my first job. First and foremost, I've got two crazy girls that are 10 and almost 11 and 13. And I say it often, but if I can make it through this time, I can make it through anything.
That's okay? Right.
I am being tested in ways I didn't even know was possible. So that's job one. Job two is I've spent 25 years in the insurance industry. So that's my career. Everything from owning an insurance agency, selling, smiling, dialing, hiring, firing, you name it. I've done it. I'm still active in the space. And then just because there's just not enough time, I got something else I got to do. I founded the Sparkle Foundation in 2016. Which we will be 8 this year. Wow. And our purpose is serving single mothers up and down the state of California with our holiday gift drive, our enrichment scholarships. We've done a backpack drive in years past, and most recently opened up micro loans, all for single moms. Wow. So those are my jobs. I got a podcast too, and a blog, and a couple other things I do, but those are my 3 main points.
You got a lot going on.
There's some stuff happening.
Yeah, but you handle it very well.
As long as I show well, that's all that matters.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be a great episode for sure. So I have some questions for you, Samantha. So what was the pivotal moment for you? And we can do 2 sides, right? Dual. We can talk about Sparkle and we can also talk about insurance. But what was the pivotal moment that fueled you for your self-made journey with confidence, especially with insurance? That's a male-dominated space, right?
100%. And it's like old men, there was never any young women in the industry. So I grew up in insurance. My family owns a licensing school for insurance in Encino. Well, it was in Encino. Now it's in Ventura County. That's how I started in the industry, was working in the front desk, checking people in for school. And a teacher didn't show up for class one day. I've told the story a million times, but it's always fun when I do tell it. And there was a room full of like 80 people that were all paying bodies to get their insurance licensing. So I, like any normal 17-year-old gal, grabbed a book and walked in and was like, let's talk about auto insurance. not knowing anything about anything. Talk
Right.
about not being confident, but no one, I didn't want them to know that.
Uh-huh.
Ended up liking it, and then kind of put myself through school teaching insurance, and then got
Wow.
into, when it was graduated college, mom and dad weren't ready to retire, and so I opened up an insurance agency with my father. So being young, I was 23 at the time. I would go to meetings, and like people would ask me, where my boss was, or if my dad was going to be here, or what I was doing. Was I just taking notes? I mean, I would have the most insane things said to me. And it wasn't necessarily a confidence thing. It was, I knew I didn't know everything I needed to know, but I knew
Mm-hmm.
enough to at least control the conversation, and if I didn't have the right answers, I would know enough to know that I needed to go get them and find those people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wasn't at all an easy road. And even now, it's still very interesting. The insurance industry, or even a lot of financial industries, are still, I mean, you see more women, but they're in these like lower level roles. They're still not at the top. And
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at a picture the other day of an insurance company. I was like, they're all dudes. Like, where's the girls?
Right.
I know the ladies are out there,
Yeah.
but we're still not on the forefront. So confidence, I think, is a big word, and especially when it comes to being in a male dominated industry, I think it's more resilience at this stage in the
Mm.
game, because I wasn't always super confident. Once I started to know my stuff and educate myself in the, being ready for a meeting, then I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I, deserved a seat at the table. And now,
Yeah.
man, I set the table.
She's like, I've made the table. Are you coming?
I have picked out the linens for the table. Let's
Right.
go. But it's taken me, 25 years to get there. And it was not an easy journey at all.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing that you sharing that story right there is you had the self-belief, right? That's what your foundation was. You believed in yourself, you knew your inherent worth and your value, and even though you didn't have a lot of knowledge of the industry, that's when your confidence comes in. Like, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna take a class, I'm gonna do this. But you have the self-belief, like, I got this. At 17, walking in trying to teach a class, what?
Well, I knew it was what put food on my family's table. And I knew that, like, I know that I'm a likable person and I can connect with people. Like, I understand how to communicate. And so for me, I was going to take that skill and make it work, because there was no
Mm-hmm.
other option. I mean, I couldn't tell everyone to leave.
True. True. That's amazing though. I mean, that took a lot of courage, but you're a very courageous woman and you're very ambitious too. So, I'm not surprised.
Well, I mean, I've definitely had my roadblocks, and I've
Yeah.
definitely had my stumbles and fallen so flatly on my face.
Mm.
And I always thought that I was old enough to know better, but still young enough to screw it all up and recover. Now, as I get older, that saying doesn't work as much, because those falls, they hurt a little bit more, and they tend to be more expensive as you get a little older. But
Yeah.
you make those, I don't even call them mistakes. I kind of call them learning moments.
Mm-hmm.
And don't do it again.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of how most entrepreneurs are. I mean, we all learn by fire.
Yeah. That's how we're made, right? We have to learn by, our decisions that we make, good or bad. So, yeah. So how do you navigate through the challenges and maintain your confidence on this unique path of being like, a badass in the insurance industry? How do you do that?
Well, I think it's it's interesting, because I turned 40. I'm 43 now, so I turned 40 in the middle of COVID, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if it was like just this era of time we were all in, but also just this moment of like, hey, I'm kind of like this grown ass woman now. Like, I've done this work and I've gotten where I want to go, and now I just got to build on that. And
Yeah.
so, as far as just, continuing to take one step in front of the other and take the risks and try different things, or find that, that's not working for me anymore and I need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been in not only insurance, but also in Sparkle or any of these other things I'm doing. It's trying new things and trying to connect. And at the end of the day, it's like doing, living life with purpose. I say it all the time. Like, I want to wake up and I want to do something, and I want to go to bed and be like, yeah, like I did this today, and I
Yeah.
made a difference in this space of my life today. Um,
Yeah.
some days, some days aren't, as planned, but for the most part, I try to live that life and move that forward for my daughters too. I mean, because they're watching.
They sure are. They sure are. Now let's shift gears and talk about Sparkle Foundation. How did you get started? Where did that idea come from?
Well, when I was starting in my insurance career, that 23 wonderful age of thinking, I want to take over the world. So I was starting my business and then I wanted to give back. And I didn't really know what that meant or, what that looked like. So when I started researching charities, I was finding like a lot of them were not as, they weren't average, they weren't doing what they said they were doing with the money. And even
Mm-hmm.
now, like 8 years later, or actually it's 20, this is 21 years that I've been doing the work, 8 as an actual nonprofit. Even it's like when you hear about organizations that have, less than 30% of the money that they bring in go to what the cause is. I mean, it makes you sick to your stomach. And there's a
Yes.
lot of them. There's also a lot of them like, mine and yours that are doing
Mm-hmm.
different things at 100% of the level. So when I was realizing I wanted to do something, even at that young age, I was not finding what I wanted. And
Mm.
so like, grabbing that book and walking into that class, I was like, I'm going to do it myself. So I started, reaching out to different organizations, and I found this Dear Santa program, which was in LA, and you could go and get the letters to Santa Claus. And
Okay.
so I went up to Valencia. They took my fingerprints, my ID. They checked me all out, made sure I wasn't a psycho. And in you go, and you could read letters from kids. And I
Wow.
would read these stories. And the more of the stories I would read, I was always gravitating towards these ones that didn't have dad, or dad was in jail, or dad was dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize it at the time, but and my story, my grandma was a single mom in the 50s. And so a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
stories I was reading kind of connected with me as to like how my dad and my aunt and my uncle were brought up. So I was like, wow, these
Mm.
are women I could really help. So the
Yes.
first year I did 2, the next year I did 5, and then it grew to 7. And then I think by 2015 there was 17 families we were doing out of my house. It was like, okay, like this is legit. We're making some strides, but now let's like
Mm-hmm.
up the ante. And Sparkle was formed. But it was
Yeah.
always based on being able to do something and see the end result and know that if a dollar came in, a dollar was going to go back out. And 8 years later, I mean, we've raised over $2 million and given it all
Wow.
back out to the community, which is something I'm so proud of. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. It's a grind. It's another full-time job that, nobody
Mm-hmm.
gets paid for, but by just the passion and love of what we're doing. But it's so worth it. I
Yeah.
mean, this last year we touched over, I think, close to 5,500 lives. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, we're doing a lot and it's great. It's really amazing, impactful work.
Wow. I when I came to your house, I was having conversations with your aunt. Just love her and love your mom too. We've had great conversations, even at the event that we went to in Beverly Hills. But
Mhm.
just really great conversations with your aunt, learning about her story and where she came from and just the experiences that she had, and just hearing the stories about your grandma and her kids and being a single mom. I think oftentimes people, when they think about single moms, they have this narrative of what a single mom looks like, right? And they just assume that, if she looks a certain way, she's a certain ethnicity, or, comes from a economic background, she's okay. She's fine. Or this one isn't okay. But, what I love about your organization and what I love about you too is your heart. Very authentic, very true to making sure that children and moms are seen, are valued, and that they're able to have a Christmas for their kids and open up the gifts. And oftentimes, I think people forget, about single moms, no matter what economic background, and they have challenges. I was a single mom, and I came from a 2-parent home, and so your heart for women is so pure, is so
Well, thank
pure.
you.
And I love it, and that's one of the reasons why I think we connected, is because of your heart and of course your personality, of course that
I
too.
mean, you and me, we just hit it off. But I think
Yeah.
too, like going back to what you're saying about single moms, they are all different. There's a
Yes.
gamut. It's not like it fits into this box. And
Yeah.
you know, I live here in Marin County, which is one of the most affluent counties in the whole country. And you would be like the woman next door, you would never think about it, but she's
Mm-hmm.
living paycheck to paycheck, barely able to put food on the table. Or maybe she is, making all the things, but now there's no extra money. Those are the women that we serve. And it's not necessarily a we don't help time and time again. It's a one-time thing because we'll really just, if you imagine you're on a trampoline, man, we are just bouncing these gals back up and out and helping them get to where they need to go and allow their children to play ball or have a Christmas or, start a business or, any of these things. And it's, there's no strings attached, which is what I also love about what we do. I mean, we don't ask for anything in return.
Yeah.
And you would be amazed with how many women come back and help, or how many kids come back and help wrap for a family next year, or nominate a mom for the following Christmas. I mean, that stuff just, it warms my heart because it's a full circle. It really is. Doing good feels so good. And so many of us are so fortunate, and we're able to do, many of the things we want. And if we don't have the funds, we save up and we can make it happen. And so sometimes people just need a little bit of a hand up, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's amazing. And when you first got started doing Sparkle, were there any times where you felt like, I don't know if I could really do this, or I don't have the capacity, or I don't have the team to really help and make a difference in the lives of women? Have you ever had those experiences where you thought those things when you first started?
Yeah. Going back 21 years now, I mean, there's been so many different editions of, what the Sparkle organization looks like and how we've got to be here. It was not an overnight situation. I mean, running a nonprofit and running a business are kind of the same, but kind of very different at the same time. In my work life, I have employees, I have staff that I pay, that, we show up at a certain time. These are our marching orders. Hey, we need this by noon. Bada bing, bada boom. It's on my desk, right? In the nonprofit, everyone around me is a volunteer. Everyone around me has a real job. Everyone around me has families and commitments. And so the 10% of their time that I can have, I have to be on their schedule, but also we have to accomplish a goal. And so getting that right team in place has taken me many years. And this board right now is unbelievable. I mean, it is just rocking. I've got the most brilliant talent in so many different areas by design, because I know where I am not good. It's important to plug the people in that are good and where we can all balance each other. But yeah, I mean, roadblocks, like coming up with fundraising, and, I'm unapologetically me, as you know, and I don't like to play the game. And a lot of these organizations play the games, and they're, doing this and taking money over here, and nope, no thank you. Like, that's not what I want to do. And so could it have been easier? Maybe, but where we are and where we're going is such an amazing, transparent, focused path. Like, I feel really good when I go to bed at night knowing like what we're doing in all the right ways.
Yeah. And what do you think the greatest lessons that your daughters are learning from watching you?
I think the greatest lesson, I know it is, it's watching them serve their community in a way that they can see the end result of, stuffing that box, wrapping that gift, stuffing that backpack, and then going and handing it over to someone, puts a realness. It's a face to a face. And that person no longer just becomes the person on the other side. It's a human being, and it's just like them. And so for them, I think it's, the volume year after year of seeing it. I mean, both these girls can run an assembly line. They can stuff baskets. They see those boxes roll in here and their eyes roll back. They're like, oh, here we go again. But at the end, they know what it is that they're doing. Yeah. And I think the best thing is when I hear them tell other people what it is they're doing, or what Sparkle does and how it makes them feel. I mean, that is, as a mother, woo. But, not just my kids, because there's hundreds of kids that come in and help. And it's awesome.
That's beautiful, man. I just love the work that you guys do. And I just love your daughters too. I had such a great time sitting with them.
They love you. I just thought we were talking today. Mo will be most excited.
Oh my gosh. All right. So do you have any advice for those breaking away from the norms to carve out their own path?
I think you gotta not be afraid. And I think fear of failure or fear of not making the right turn is such a debilitating thing for so many of us. And I've been there where you're just like, hey, I don't know what to do. And if you think about it this way, like if everybody knew what to do all the time, we'd all have it figured out. And guess what? None of us do, right? We take wrong turns. We go down the wrong street. We have the wrong directions, but we always seem to find the path that makes the most sense for us. Yes. And I think that the journey of life is about the missteps, and it's about the stumbles, and being okay to like fall down and learn, right? And learn how to not do that again, or learn that that road maybe is not the best one for you. And, you know, this is a better path. And being okay with taking risk, because risk and getting uncomfortable is where you're going to be your most successful person.
That's so true. That's so true. Do you think that people sometimes look at you and think that you have it all together? Oh, Samantha has it all together.
Oh, yes. People say the worst stuff all the time. Like, oh, it's so easy. I'm like, you have no idea. You know, the amount of late nights and, you know, oh my God, how am I going to make payroll? Or what have I done? Or wow, I've got all this families to fulfill, and how am I going to do all this? I mean, I've bitten off so much more than I could chew. I've had the wrong people around me. I've had people steal. I've had people lie. I've had people do just awful things. I've had people say the worst things. And it's like, at least you're talking about me at this point. That's 40-year-old me is like, hey, at least my name's in your mouth. That's fine. Right. Now figure out a way to parlay that into a donation or something, right? Like, come on, let's do some work together. But I mean, it's, I don't know. I mean, yeah, like it is hard sometimes when you have the negative noise and stuff, but you gotta like realize that I live out loud. I live loudly. I post my life. I share my life, the good, the bad, the indifferent. And I'm an easy target, I know. So if I'm going to put myself out there, then I know that someone's going to say something stupid or make some like dumb remark, like, oh, you have it so easy. If that's what you want to think, fine. Show me what you're doing. Let's go. Right? Yeah. Let's do it. Show me how you're making the world a better place, and you can say whatever you want.
Yeah. And you know, that takes confidence and courage too, right? Because you're at a level, and I think when you turn 40, you're just like, man, whatever.
I mean, it still stings a little bit. Like every now and again, I'll be like, she said what?
Yeah.
That's awful. Like, ew. But at the same time, you know, they always say, like, you know, when you grow up, people say things because that's them projecting on you, and, you know, all that stuff that you tell your kids. And it's hard sometimes because you're like, God, that person is so awful. But at the same time, you're like, well, you know, bless her heart. I'm sorry that she is in that space, that this is where she wants to spew some venom. Okay, I can take it. You know, I can take it, because I'm just going to turn around and try to be better and do better. And, you know, I feel like I wake up and I do what makes sense for me, and my purpose is helping other people. And if that doesn't work for you, like, that's cool. Like, I don't have to be for everybody, just as you don't have to be for everybody, but I'm for you and you're for me. So
that's right. Hey. That's true.
And I gotta be okay with it. You know, you just gotta realize that you're not always going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's cool.
Yeah. And you know, I have another interview earlier, and she said the same thing. It's like, you're not everyone's cup of tea, and you have to be okay with that.
Well, I had a girlfriend ask me one day, she was like, you know, I love that you post your workouts, or you'll post this in your life and everything else. I could never do that. And I go, why? She says, well, I would be too afraid of what people would say. And I go, well, why do you care? Right? Because I can tell you there are far more people that come up to me in the grocery store, or come up to me that I don't even know, and to be like, you know what? Thank you for saying that, or thank you for posting that, or thank you for that. And I'm not even realizing the people that I touch, and like, cause I'm not even like in that space of like, oh, I'm posting this so people pay attention to me. It's more of like, hey, here's something that works for me, and I'm no different than you, and you could do it too.
Yeah.
And, you know, those are the people you want to connect with. And those are the people that you want to hear your story and want to be, you know, around you. And those are the ones you want around you.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we don't realize, especially when it comes down to social media, the things that we post really impact people, and it really inspires and empowers, especially women. Like, someone wrote to me the other day, like, you really inspire me. And I'm like, I'm just living my life and being me. But, you know, when you're your authentic self, you are inspiring people.
Well, and I love how you post. You post like I post. Like, I'll post the great days, and I'll post the not so great days, or the things that really sting, or, you know, those moments, because we all have those moments. And the people that are strawberries and rainbows all the time on Facebook. You know their life's not like that. You
Strawberries and
know that their
rainbows.
life is not that filter. I mean, come on. But it's okay. You know, those girls were around when we were in high school too, and they're just now grown women. They're still around.
Right.
It's cool.
Strawberries and rainbows. I don't know where that came from.
I mean, I know. I see a lot of it. And I'm like, I know your life. I know your real life, and it's not like that. But okay,
Right.
that's what you want to share with the world. Okay.
That's right. And that's what you call an unapologetic journey. Like, this is me. This is who I am. Not going to change for anybody. Love me or not. I'm me. Yeah.
That's take it or leave it.
Samantha. All right. What key lessons from your self-made journey do you think will resonate with our audience? What lessons? Key lessons.
Falling is okay.
Mm.
Taking risks. Getting uncomfortable. Not caring what other people think. And being true to the grown-ass woman that you have become. Like, get to know her, love her, appreciate her, and celebrate her.
Yeah. I love that. So here are my reflective questions for you. If you could give advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Stop being in such a hurry to grow up. I was always in such a hurry to grow up and be a grown up that I did not do the fun stuff. But like when all my friends graduated college and were like going to Europe and like going to Ibiza for months on end, I was like buying a condo and starting an insurance agency and working. But now I'm on the other side of it where I'm like, now I can go to Ibiza for a month. That's what I wanted to do, and do it probably differently than I would when I was 21. But I'm not going to Ibiza for a month. Don't worry, guys. But I mean, I think that was my biggest issue was like, I always wanted to be so grown up so fast. And I tell my girls like, it's cool. It's cool to be, setting yourself up, but you need to still have fun and be a kid.
I love that. So imagine you're invited to a dinner. Let's say it's in West Los Angeles. Ambiance amazing, 4-course dinner, Michelin star chef, beautiful setting. You're invited to this dinner and you're able to invite 3 guests. It can be a historical figure. It can be someone famous. It could be someone in the philanthropy work, whoever it may be. You're inviting 3 guests. Who are they and what would be the conversation at the table?
I'd invite Beyonce because I love her.
You was going to say that.
I would invite my mother because she's incredible.
Yeah, I love her.
And I'd invite my best friend Michelle because she's always bringing it to the table. And I feel like, celebrities and things, a lot of times they're just interesting people, that are interesting people. I think Beyonce would be an interesting person because I love her work ethic. I love who she is and what she stands for women. I mean, my mom is, my mom. She's great. And my girlfriend Michelle is such an inspiration to me. I mean, she's like my own little personal board of directors and I hers. I just was talking to her yesterday and, there's just something about a woman that's in your life that can help lift you when you need to be lifted, bring you back down when you need to be back down, and celebrate the wins. And that's her for me. And so those are my people.
That sounds like a great dinner party.
It would be fun. It'd be a lot of giggles.
Yes, it would. You'll be in love with Beyonce, just her conversation.
She would just hang out. She would be like laughing, I'm sure, with our antics. It'd be great.
Oh my goodness. So what mantra or quote do you live by that you can drop to the audience?
It's interesting. And as I have it right here on my phone, I found this in my email. It's the power of purpose, taking your magic out of the bottle. That's my theme for the year. That's like what I'm going with right now. Taking my magic out of the bottle and like sharing it with the world.
Yeah. Your magic out of the bottle. I love that.
I was going through some emails and I saw that. I was like, was that the title of the book I was thinking about writing? I don't know. I was thinking about doing a couple things, but I was like, I'm going to put that on my screen and follow up with that. Who knows?
Yeah. And that's my hope, right? Is for women, for anyone, everyone out there to take your magic out the bottle.
Take it out.
Take it out
Why
the
are
bottle.
we keeping it all bottled up?
I don't know.
Because
Maybe
we're afraid.
because we are. I
We're
was just about to say we're afraid.
We're afraid
We're
of what
really
people
afraid.
will think. We're
Yeah.
afraid that it'll fail. We're afraid that no one will care, no one will listen. But if you impact one person, make a difference for one person, I mean, that really could make a difference. I mean, that's worth impacting thousands of people, on a lighter scale. Just all you need is one.
Yeah. And, just like you speak of, at the end of the day, when you've done the things that you've done, served who you serve, you wake up feeling like you are fulfilled, right? Your soul is happy because you have impacted the people you were brought here to serve. And that's what taking your magic out of the bottle will do for you.
It does. And also just knowing that, like, doing good, honestly, it feels so good. During COVID, where everyone was like sitting at home licking their wounds and feeling sorry for themselves, I was like, I can go down that road. I'm doing mom school, okay? I'm in the worst possible situation with these little monkeys and their math. I was like, I'm gonna find a way to take this and turn it around and serve other people. And that to me was really got me through it. We made gratitude boxes for the nurses and the teachers and the first responders. Yeah, GD gave me all these products from, Beauty Heroes and all this stuff. And man, we loaded up thousands of boxes and we would go deliver them to the hospitals. And it was like this teeny tiny little act. I mean, we were giving away skin cream. But for a woman who was working 19 hours a day, to get that cream and make a difference, it was like, yeah, well, yes, like, please. Wow. And I don't know. It's just the more that I do, I always say I'm a do good junkie. Like, it just makes me feel good. It's better than any dollar in my bank account, honestly.
Yeah, and speak to the people that want to do good and maybe they're like, I don't have the resources, I don't have the team. How can someone go out and do good just solo by themselves?
There's so many great organizations. I mean, whatever you're into, animals, oceans, food, single moms. I mean, there's so many wonderful organizations and they're all fueled with volunteers. So I always say the first step is find something you're into and jump in, right? Sign up and go volunteer, pick up trash on the beach, go serve food, pack a lunch for, students that need, extra support. I mean, start small and find out what fuels your fire. I mean, not everybody has the time to run an organization at, the scale of what we're doing here, but they have an hour or they can mentor another woman or man or, whatever, just find something that you're into and jump in and then figure it out.
Yeah. Jump in and figure it out.
Just jump in.
That's right. Don't waste time.
I love it where they're like, oh, how do you have time? You just make time. Like, you will always make time for the things that are important. I don't care how busy you are. Like, I wear 47 hats all the time and I will always make time for the things that are important to me. Always.
So true. So true. So true. We make time for what we want. So if you want to do it, make time to do it. Just do it.
Like take your magic out of the bottle and make the time. That's it.
That's right.
That's it.
Well, thank you, Samantha, for being my guest on my podcast.
Anytime, girl. Anytime. Anything for you.
Anything.
Okay.
I'm gonna be the genie in the bottle.
I might retract that. No, I would. You would only do me right. So we're good.
Well, thank you so much. You guys can get in touch with Samantha. It's going to be in the show notes. You can follow her on all socials and just support Sparkle Foundation.
Yeah. Let's do it.